live from the Love Lounge where the roosters are crowing and the cows are spinning circles in the pasture. I don't know who writes this show. Big thanks to Harvey Goodman Realtors, our sponsor for the show. ClickHarvey.com. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, there's only one place you need to go for everything you need. That's ClickHarvey.com, where you'll find dozens, if not hundreds, of homes for sale. And if you're looking to sell as well, they've got all the resources you need at ClickHarvey.com. Our guest today is an educator and the head of school at Wheeling Country Day School. Please welcome Liz Hofreuter. Hi, Liz. I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us on the show.
It is a pleasure. It's good to actually feel like you're with someone, even if it's remote and we're in completely different locations.
You know, one of the things we keep talking about on the show is everybody's just kind of scrambling to make up new ways to get things done. And I think video conferencing has made it really, really easy in the last couple of weeks.
It absolutely has. And I'll tell you, as an educator, I have loved being able to video conference with families and basically be welcomed into their homes and welcome them into my home. It's given us insight into people that we wouldn't have had the opportunity to get.
So with Wheeling Country Day School, you guys have obviously not had any classes in class for quite a while now. How have you handled that? How have things been going?
So we didn't have much turnaround time. On March 13th, the governor announced that the schools in West Virginia would be closed. And we took one day off on that Monday to circle the wagons. We actually had all the teachers on campus. On Friday, we were on campus hugging each other, saying how sad we were. And by Monday, we were 6 feet apart and nobody touched each other. And we set up parameters and set things up for school. And by Tuesday, we did a social emotional check-in and technology check-in with all our kids. And since that point, we've been on synchronous and asynchronous learning every single day, not quite from 8:30 to 3:15, which is the way our school day ran, but we started a little later and we end a little sooner. But it's been every day and it's been a full school day. So we're keeping structure and learning to kids' lives.
So when you say synchronous and asynchronous learning, you mean actually having a teacher with a group of kids as it would be a classroom, as opposed to doing kind of one-on-ones or doing the learning, the schoolwork as the students are able to do it?
That's exactly right. So even though I'm the head of school, I teach 6th grade English, and I also I co-teach 6th grade English with Bridget Rutherford, and I co-teach a class called Mapping the U.S. by Heart with our art teacher, IJ Calsum. And so right before this, IJ and I were on a Zoom call, a synchronous learning call with all of our 3rd graders, and we were starting with a blank piece of paper and practicing how to draw all the states of the U.S. from memory. Well, that's exactly what we would have been doing in the classroom. It's just every kid is sitting at their own desk at home now, and I'm conducting the lesson, and I'm sharing my screen and showing them how to do the drawing and showing images of different states. And I'm in control. In control of whether they're loud and I can mute them, and I'm in control of who's volunteering. And by now, there aren't parents in the background making sure the child is doing the work or getting online, because it actually, for 3rd grade and up here, it was that seamless from the beginning. Our younger kids needed a little bit of help, but even our 1st and 2nd graders are getting on and doing their reading circles and writing classes as if they were in the classroom.
I feel like a lot of kids, especially now, are growing up with that technology. So it's not really all that difficult. Like, I watch my 5-year-old, he's in preschool, and he's doing video conferencing with his teachers in classes, and it's no big deal to him. He grabs an iPad and he knows how to do it. Like, it's come such a long way that kids that young are able to grasp that, and it's really no big deal for a lot of them.
I agree with you, Nick. Right up until the point everything's fine until everything's not fine. And when
Right.
it's not fine, they're also used to just yelling out, "Mom, fix it." And what we're trying to help parents know is don't fix it. That let the kids even struggle with the technology, because that's the way they'll be masterful and purposeful users of it. And so I know when I'm home and not in the office, my 11-year-old would love to say, Mom, fix this. And I'll say, no, you figure it out for a while first. Or I can't get into my Zoom meeting. Well, what should you do? Can you text your teacher? And by now, she doesn't even ask me anymore.
I did hear one teacher say that Zoom is a great classroom learning tool, especially the mute button.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I have to say, I've been teaching writing since 1989, and the ability to get on Zoom with only a couple of kids and not worry about the rest of the class is really a gift. It's very challenging. You know, today we had a great class on satire, showed a couple of very clean SNL clips, and we read a play, and it was wonderful. But then when it was time for kids to volunteer ideas, some of them were choppy, their Wi-Fi was going in and out, you couldn't hear some of them. And that's where Zoom fatigue comes in. And that's a real thing that schools are talking about. One of the ways you can combat Zoom fatigue is not see yourself on the screen.
Really? Does that work?
It does work. Especially, okay, think of yourself as your 11-year-old self, right? You're already self-conscious about what people think of you and how you look. Well, if you have to see the way people see you the whole time you're supposed to be demonstrating your learning, your brain can't handle all that at the same time.
That's an interesting perspective. I never really thought about it that way, but you're right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So we've talked about remote learning and all of the things that can be done with remote learning. And we're doing remote learning, or you're doing remote learning because we have to right now. It's kind of a necessity. Moving ahead, moving forward, say we get back to a new normal, whatever that might be. Do you see remote learning becoming part of a normal curriculum, part of a normal thing? You're laughing. You're probably thinking, no, please, no.
No, actually, I'm first of all, it's a great question. I'm thinking it's going to be revolutionary, Nick. We fully believe that it was time to interrupt the status quo. We believed that and have been working on ways to change the way we do education for a number of years now. And this has really just pushed us to the point of, okay, stop talking about it and start doing it. And one of the reasons that things were so smooth for us is that we're not doing anything that we hadn't already been talking about doing in some capacity. It's just instead of taking the time to get everybody on board and do the professional development, we got forced into it. And that's actually the way I learned to teach. I remember in 1989 when I was a student teacher, my master teacher called me one morning and said, I'm not coming today. Good luck. And honestly, I thought I was going to be sick. It was seniors in high school. And I learned more in that day than I had in all the weeks prior. And that's really what happened in this case. Look, it starts now. You got to figure it out. And we have a great faculty that is always willing to take risks. We had created a wonderful culture where parents and teachers saw each other as partners. And all of those things were exactly in line so that we could be successful moving this remote. And we won't lose it all. If, first of all, I think the pandemic is going to put us in a situation that we're going to see more of this, maybe sporadically at times. But even if it didn't, if we suddenly had a vaccine and we could go back to school as normal in the fall, I don't see us ever going back to the way it was because we've learned too much about what this platform can do for students.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said you have a team that was willing to do that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I see it a lot with businesses that I talk to where changes like this, nobody wants it. Nobody wants these things to happen. But with changes, when you're forced to make changes, it can be make or break whenever you have between having a team that is ready to do it and a team that is dragging their feet on it. Because if you're dragging your feet, it's just not going to work. But when you have a team around you that's willing to make those changes and willing to make a step forward on it, I think it can be done. I think it can. We've learned a lot during all of this. Everybody has, schools and businesses alike.
Well, absolutely. We've learned a lot about what remote learning does and what remote office practices are. And in some categories, I don't know that we'll ever go back to the way it once was. The hard part is, my assistant and I were just talking about the fact one of the greatest things about an elementary school is when somebody puts a Band-Aid on your boo-boo, you know how much they love you. What's that going to look like in the fall? I mean, everything is going to have to change on some level until we have a vaccine for this. And you have to be willing to look at scenarios and say, I can make this work. If all you are is in fear of those scenarios, then you're going to be paralyzed.
Yeah. And as far as office changes, we've learned that all of those meetings that should have been emails actually could have been emails.
Yeah, I can't agree with you there, because if I get one more email, I may have to quit. It's almost too much. And the other thing that has been hard for me that we're going to have to figure out is people are working at a time of day that's best for them. And I'm talking about adults, but your time of day that's best for you might not match up with my time of day. And then there's more lag time in getting something done. So there's also a lot of pieces of this puzzle for us all to work out. But I can tell you, the children have done an amazing job of saying, okay, this is what is expected of me, and I'm going to do what's expected. And we've still maintained all the things that make us a special place. We're still going to launch a weather balloon on May 15th because our fifth graders have a deep learning project where they research, build, and then launch and rescue a weather balloon. We're still going to do that. We're just doing
cool.
What distances. We're still going to have a school play. Our older kids are doing a play called The Show Must Go On Line. And it's an entirely Zoom show written by Beat Press. We are currently filming a TikTok of what would have been our graduation. We're saying, okay, life isn't the way it should be. So what about this is fun that we can do differently? And it's been amazing. See, this is the first year of our middle school. And the way our middle school works is it's a real alternative approach to learning in those middle grades. And it meant kids were doing interdisciplinary projects in really deep fashion. That is tough to do online. And yet our teachers who are leading it for this last trimester have figured out a way that these students are still learning about a water crisis that happens in Africa and Paden City and what they can do about it. And they're going to do a live online presentation on May 19th. So it is really possible to keep school going as you know it, if you have flexibility and a little bit of patience and a spirit of, I'm going to take this risk.
Can you send me a link to that play when you guys do it? I want to see it.
Sure.
That sounds really fun. You guys have a big fundraiser that you do every year. I want to ask you about that in just a second. I do have a couple of comments coming through the live stream here. Jean says, you are amazing.
Too much you.
And Barb says, I want to be a student again and have Miss Hofreuter as my teacher.
That's really funny because I taught all three of Barb's kids. So
she told me, yeah. I'm sure. Hey, I'm sure if Barb wanted to come back and go to a couple of classes, I'm sure you'd let her, right?
I would absolutely let her. Yeah.
Okay. You guys have a big Wheeling Country Day School has a big fundraiser you do every year. Unfortunately, that was canceled or postponed this year. Tell me about it.
So, as I said, we were closed on March 13th, and 1 week later on March 21st was supposed to be our big fundraiser that we call Celebrate. And this year's theme was Monopoly. And we actually had stars that were coming in to play Monopoly against each other. And we were pitting them against each other and having a raffle so that people who attended the event could move your player or give you more money. And it should have been a great night. And we knew early that that was not going to be a safe environment and had to cancel it. So we are so fortunate. All of the sponsors for the event said they would not withdraw, they would not ask for the money to be withdrawn, and they would give it to the school as a donation. But that's actually been a hardship on the school because we count on that not only for this year's budget, but to prepare for next year. And at one point there was thought that we would postpone it to summer, but it's just very clear that it has to be completely canceled for this year.
Right. I would assume that things are in the works to get it back up and moving for next year.
Yeah, I'm very hopeful that we'll just pick up the Monopoly theme where we left it because it was so unique, and we were looking forward to something that was different than other fundraisers in the area. So we'll probably just pick it back up for March 2021.
That sounds good. That's a really neat idea.
And, you know, Taylor was going to come and be one of our stars. So we were hoping everybody at WTRF would want to come and support her or perhaps make sure she lost, whatever the case may be.
I'll play Monopoly against Taylor.
All right. There you go.
I don't know how good she is. She might be pretty good. I have no idea.
That's right. It's amazing how many people came out of the woodwork to say, I love Monopoly. I was the Monopoly champion, or I would rather not attend your event than ever have to play Monopoly.
Monopoly has started a lot of arguments in my house.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so Wheeling Country Day School, do you want to do just kind of a rundown of what you guys do, kind of you want to recruit a little bit?
Yeah, let me do a little recruiting.
Sure.
So we are, as of next year, preschool through 8th grade. I am very happy to report that preschool through 4th grade all look like they're fully enrolled for next year, which is wonderful for the school. Not quite fully enrolled in 5th through 8th grade, so there is room in our middle school, which I said takes a different approach to learning, and we'd love to share more information about that. I think we're putting together a virtual open house so that people know about us. But even more than that, we are actually putting together a summer camp, even under these conditions. We're going to have Zoom camps, and when we are allowed to have some kids on campus, we're going to have hybrid camps. And then if it opens up this summer, we'll have full camps on campus. But these are open to the public, and they start with 4-year-olds and continue on up to anyone in 7th grade. And that'll be available on our website this week, wcdsedu.com.
It's right there, right up there on the screen, wcdsedu.com.
The other thing that we do that's really different is we have something called the Center for Multisensory Learning, which is for children with language-based learning differences like dyslexia or students with ADHD. And we give them immersive training in order to rewire their brains so that they can be successful in the regular classroom. And we'll have a 4-week summer program starting mid-June that will be on Zoom and run exactly as it has in the past, which has been a live workshop in the past. So we have 3 opportunities in the summer so that we can try to keep kids busy and engaged and learning, even though school's out.
Yeah, school's never out.
It's never out.
WCDS EDU, the website is on the screen. You can find more information there. Liz, thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. It was fun.
Good luck with the fundraiser for next year. I know you guys will get that back up and running, and I want to come play Monopoly with you guys.
All right, I'll write you on the list. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Liz. Liz Hofreuter, the head of school at Wheeling Country Day School. That is Split Screen. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again on Thursday with a brand new show. Split Screen is presented by Harvey Goodman Realtors. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, you can do it all online at clickharvey.com. That's Split Screen. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Thursday.